The Accidental Entrepreneur is brought to you with the help of our sponsor, Aweber, the world's leading small business email marketing and automation service provider. Since 1998, Aweber has helped more than 1 million small businesses and entrepreneurs through its suite of web-based email marketing, automation tools, and education. Aweber, the best option when it comes to marketing your business. The podcast is also brought to you by the Alternative Board. Since 1989, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has been one of the leading peer advisory and business coaching organizations for independent business owners and CEOs across the world. By facilitating peer advisory boards, private one-on-one coaching, and strategic planning services, TAB helps business owners improve their businesses in ways that change their lives. And be sure to check out our affiliate sponsor, One of One Productions, the New Jersey-based podcast studio that produces and edits both audio and video podcasts. They sell equipment for the avid podcaster and have even created a guesting kit exclusively for our listeners. And be sure to support the podcast by ordering some logo merchandise from our online store. Listen to all of our sponsors' commercials later in this episode and follow their links in the show notes to learn more about their products and services. Okay, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today is a very special day. I'm very excited. We have a great guest, and today is our first live episode. So please send me texts or emails later if you saw us live. We'll definitely be on YouTube, hopefully LinkedIn and Facebook. And if you are listening to this on a podcast directory, because it's going to be re-released, be sure to like us. Give us a 5-star review wherever you can, because I know some of them you can, some of them you can't. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button to follow us and like us and all those other buttons you can push. Let me get on with the show. We'll start some credits. We got some live read commercials today. And I got my good friend Chris to talk about blogs, and he's from Blogger Revolution. And we got a fun show for you today. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get on with things.
The information provided in these episodes is for entertainment purposes only. It is not a guarantee of success or to be construed as advice of any kind. You should always seek advice from local licensed professionals before making any decisions.
The dictionary defines an entrepreneur as a person who organizes and manages any enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initiative and risk. People often start a business without much choice, perhaps due to a job loss or just being dissatisfied at work, and they come up with an idea they just know can be successful. They become entrepreneurs by accident. That is to say, their success or failure happens by accident, not with intention. My name is Mitch Beinhacker. I'm a corporate attorney and a business advisor. You're listening to The Accidental Entrepreneur, my podcast about how to achieve success on purpose, not by accident. Join me along with our monthly guests, where we share our knowledge and help you get a hold of your business. And now on to today's episode.
Hi, my name is Chris Myles. I'm a full-time blogger, YouTuber, and podcast host of the Blog Revolution. So I'm excited to be here today. We're going to be talking about some really cool entrepreneur stuff. So if that's your thing, go ahead and tune right in. See you then.
All right. So Chris Myles, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me. Everybody can see you have a headset. You got all the gear. So you are a podcaster, a blogger, and all the stuff. So I'm excited to have you on. I told you my first live guest, we're going to do one every month and, make some good stuff. This new studio is great because I can play the music and it goes right in the video because I don't know how to edit video if my life depended on it. I could do audio editing. So why don't we, though, introduce yourself a little bit. We'll go back to your background, where you're from, grew up, how you got started. And I'm excited to talk about blogging because a lot of people don't realize that it's a tool to use to become successful in whatever it is you're trying to do, which you kind of discovered as well. Does that make sense to start there?
Yeah. Thanks so much, Mitch, for having me on. This is going to be exciting.
Awesome.
The first live. All right, let's go ahead and do this.
You, me, and nobody else is listening.
Trevor Anderson.
Well, let's see if we can change that. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Start to build an audience.
Yeah. So anyways, I guess when I first got started, it was just me and my wife. We had jobs, but they weren't the greatest jobs in the world, just enough to kind of pay the bills.
Right.
What
were you doing?
I was working at one of the big four consulting firms, tax audit consulting firms.
Right.
And my wife worked for an insurance agency.
Or Anderson or whatever. Deloitte. Yeah, there you go. Right.
And my wife was working at an insurance company at the time as well.
Sounds like good jobs, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, shoot, I had a ton of debt that I
Yeah.
brought really into our marriage when we first got married,
Right. You and
and
most Americans.
never made enough money to really pay it off. It was always just making those minimum payments month
Right.
after month. And because of that, and so much money had to go elsewhere before we could use it for personal stuff,
Yeah.
it just kept piling up and piling up and piling up.
Right.
And a lot of stuff changed when we found out that we were going to be having our first son.
Yeah.
His name's Benji. You might hear him in the background. But when he when he started, his little journey into our lives, my wife expressed to me that she wanted to stay home with him full time.
Yeah. Sure.
And I remember saying, "Yeah, we can't afford that.
Right. Of course not. Yeah.
You need to at least have a part-time job or something." But she kind of sat me down and looked at me and like, "No, we need to figure this out."
Figured
I
it
was
out.
like, okay. So
I know.
I had to kind of put on my big boy pants. I went online. I Googled how to make money online.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could just imagine.
You're like looking for side hustles, right? To do in
Yeah, side
addition to
hustles.
your job.
But you can imagine, Mitch, what kind of cesspool of stuff
Crazy
pops up.
stuff. I know.
right?
Well,
I
that's why
tried
we're all in
everything.
debt and we all have problems, right? Because we try things, we waste money, we do this, we borrow. We're all in. I think I heard this morning 14 trillion is the number of. That's the amount of debt that we as households have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
a lot.
I'm not proud to say we were a big chunk of that at the time.
Yeah.
But man, it was crazy. I tried
Right.
a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of it didn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So I ended up stumbling across blogging and affiliate marketing. And I went through the whole, doldrums of trying to figure it out and learning it. Followed a few people, and then ended up having a couple successes, having a lot of failures.
Right.
But I eventually, kind of, I don't want to say, I hate the word crack the code, but I kind of figured it out
Yeah, well,
and understood
it
the whole
takes time.
process.
Now, Chris,
Yeah.
for the people that are listening, because in the opening, we do have an affiliate sponsor, our productions company, One of One Productions. Could you explain to people listening, like what affiliate marketing is?
Yeah, I like to use the example, Mitch, of let's just say I have a favorite pizza place. It's like literally around the corner, and we go there all the time. And it's to the point to where, like, when I walk in, everyone's like, "Hey, Chris," they know who I am.
I want your autograph, stuff like that.
Oh, I don't know about that far. But let's just say we went there so often that one day the manager walks up and says, "Hey, you know what? You come here all the time. You obviously enjoy the pizza. How about every time you tell a friend of or family of yours to come over and they buy some pizza, I'll give you $10." I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty good," So
Yeah.
let's just say I went ahead and I told my friends and family, and maybe 5 people went, $50. What if
Okay.
10 people went, make $100? But what if I found a way to tell 1,000 people to go buy that pizza?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that $10 adds up pretty quickly, right?
Quickly, yeah.
And that's basically what affiliate marketing is. You find products that you like and enjoy, and then you tell other people about them. You promote it to other people. It's a win-win-win for pretty much everybody, because the manufacturer of that product gets to make a sale.
Right. Doesn't spend money on marketing ahead of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The buyer gets solves their problem, whatever issue that they were having. Like with the pizza place example,
Yeah.
they were hungry, they wanted some good pizza.
Right.
Now
They
they're
didn't know it
their
was
problem
good
solved.
until you said this is a good place to go.
Facts, exactly.
Right.
And then I, as the affiliate, who's kind of like the middleman, who just really introduced the customer and the brand, get an affiliate commission from it. And the manufacturer doesn't even have to pay me any. They don't have to pay me any benefits, or they don't have to pay me any.
Right. It's 1099.
Exactly. Right. I just get the commission for the sale.
Right.
I wouldn't have made anything had I not made the sale.
And
so
you
it's
get
kind of
sort of a
perfect
link,
for them.
right? The buyer clicks a link, so they know that it came from you, and then it goes to the. Right. Got it. Okay.
Right. So the cool part about that whole process is that I don't have to own my own product. And if something happens on the other end, like if they made a bad pizza that day or something, they don't call me, complaining.
Right.
They call the pizza place complaining.
Right.
So it's the same difference with the affiliate marketing. I don't need to own my own product, and I don't have to deal with customer service, yet I get to make the commission just by being the middleman, introducing the brand and the customer.
I guess in theory, though, somebody could, give you a bad review or something, say, "Oh, Chris recommended this company and they suck," right? I guess you always have that risk.
Yeah, well, that is always a risk. And here's the issue. There is a lot of companies out there that pay really, really well when it comes to affiliate commissions, and the products are trash. They really are. Yeah. And a lot of them are trash for a reason. So if you do start to promote a product and you start to get a lot of returns on it, you might need to look back at yourself and be like, okay, why am I really promoting this? Is it really good? Which is why I say you need to choose a product that you like and that you actually enjoy and use often. Like the pizza place, I love that pizza, so why wouldn't anyone else, right?
Right.
Now if another pizza place around the corner was just like, hey, we'll give you $30 per pizza, and the pizza was trash, then I'm selling my soul basically just to make a few bucks, and
Right.
I'm not gonna be able to retain an audience for very long.
Right.
With
If they
that type
keep
of
raising the
thing.
fee, eventually you'll be like, your pizza tastes pretty good. Now that you pay
Yeah.
me $50 a pie, but people only pay like $20 a pie as it is, right? So they can only pay
Yeah.
so
No,
much.
I find it funny. I remember a long time ago, Gal Gadot, who's like Wonder Woman in
Yeah,
the
it's
movies,
Wonder Woman, right?
she tweeted something saying how great Android phones were or something like that. And at the bottom of the tweet, it says posted from iPhone. So,
Did it really?
yes, exactly.
That's
And
funny.
and the whole idea there is the fact that obviously Android was paying her to say
Right.
that, and she didn't even realize that when she posts it from her iPhone, it says posted from iPhone. So that's what you try to avoid, because
Yeah.
now I won't trust Gal Gadot on any type of
Right, of course.
electric decisions that I could be
Yeah, right.
making. But you see the point of enjoying and using a product and then becoming an ambassador of it.
Right. And there must be thousands of companies that have affiliate programs, right? Almost everybody does. It doesn't cost them anything. So what do they care?
Yeah, well, I mean, every company, or at its core, every company wants to make more sales. That's
Yeah.
essentially why they exist, so that they can make more money. And usually you have to pay money to acquire a new customer.
Yeah.
But with affiliates, they already have the audience, or they know how to go out there and get the audience that would be interested in your product. And because of that, they don't have to pay to acquire that customer outside of giving you the affiliate commission, which usually is how much they would normally pay to acquire a customer anyway. And they
Right.
just give it to me as
But
the
they have no
affiliate.
risk because they don't pay it till
And there's
they
no
make a
risk.
sale.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you said you were looking into it and you kind of cracked the code. And I mean, what did you do? Did you find like an academy on affiliate marketing, or did you just kind of run into a company you liked and started figuring out on your own to do?
Yeah, and that's a kind of a funny story there, Mitch. So when I first got started with it, I stumbled across this guy online. His name of his channel, his YouTube channel, was called like The Lazy Stoner.
Okay.
And basically the whole idea is he was this guy who doesn't do any work. He just kind of sits there and press buttons on the computer, and it just makes him passive income.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was
Are there
his.
stoners that are not lazy? I don't think so.
I didn't realize that was really, like, I was a very new marketer at that time,
Got
right?
it.
So I didn't understand that was his angle. That was his shtick, right? That he was using, but he actually worked pretty hard. It's just that he didn't seem like it.
Right.
So I was following his stuff, and he posted this like YouTube series of how to get a blog online and get it making money very fast. I went through the whole process.
Right.
But unfortunately, in a situation like that, you don't know what you don't know, especially when you're brand new.
Right.
So I followed his example. I posted my website and just sat back and waited for the money to roll in. And as you can guess, like $0 rolled in at all.
Right.
And what I found out later,
had different products and links to different companies. What was it at that point?
yeah, so it's what you would call like a niche blog or an affiliate blog, where it was about road bikes of all things. I'm not even remotely interested in road bikes, but I thought that would pay a big commission, right?
Right.
So that's how I learned the whole example about actually loving what you promote. But I went through the process. Like, I think I spent months setting up that website, and nothing happened. And what I ended up finding out was the information that I was following from this guy was kind of stale and outdated. It was new to me because I had never heard of it, right? But it was old.
Yeah.
As a result, I went on Fiverr. Fiverr is a place you can go and pay people to do like little things for you.
Right.
And this guy said, "Hey, I'll send you 10,000 people to your website. Just pay me $5." And I was like, no brainer, right? So I paid him $5 to go do that. And as a result, with the things that I was doing incorrectly before, plus with paying for that traffic that I shouldn't have done, I ended up getting my website de-indexed from Google, meaning it was taken out of the index.
Yeah. So let's stop for a second.
Yeah.
A lot of people read about that. You want to get 10,000 followers on your YouTube channel. You can buy these followers, and all of the algorithms and the search engines, they figured this out. They know that it's artificial, and you should never do that, right? Because you said, you got delisted on the internet. We're talking the whole world, right?
Yeah, like if you went on Google and Googled the name of the website, it would not come up like at all.
Right.
And a big reason for that.
Bought these people, they weren't really like organic followers, right?
No, well, they weren't followers per se. They were just people he was sending to my website.
Got it.
At the end of the day, they weren't people. It was just some computer
Fake traffic.
program that he created that it was
But
just
the whole idea,
traffic.
right, is that if you have a lot of traffic, in theory, your website becomes more important to. So that's how the algorithm figures out that it's not real traffic. So they make you less important, not more important.
Yeah, so there's some metrics that Google uses to assess the traffic that comes to your site. They can tell where it came from, whether it was direct or whether it came from Google or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And then they study how long they stayed on your site. Did they click through a few pages on your site?
Right.
That's not anything a bot's going to do, at least not make it look natural, right? So they weren't doing those things. And as a result, I think they were landing on the site and splitting within like 2 seconds, and that's a terrible signal to Google. They were like, oh, this is another spam website.
Boom,
got rid of it.
Done.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a learning experience because that was a lot of time and effort and money wasted at the time. But I eventually stumbled across just an actual training of people who were actually doing this live right then and there. And a lot of them were full-time bloggers at the time too. So I was able to kind of tap into their genius, I guess, at the time.
Yeah, well, that's what you do. Don't reinvent the wheel. Find people that are doing it right, not wrong. Unfortunately, sometimes you find the scammers. So I had to pay a bit of a premium to get into that little world or whatever. But it was invaluable because it saved me a ton of time. Yeah.
Within about 18 months of doing that, I was able to have my wife quit her job.
Really?
About 2 years into that, and I was able to quit mine. And it got to the point to where it became a waste of time to go to work because I was making more money on the side hustle.
You became a lazy stoner.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't being lazy. I'll tell you that. I was still working hard.
Yeah.
But it was, I realized that all of the work I was doing at my previous employment, if I had taken that same amount of time and put it into my side business, then it should grow,
Right.
I did that and it did. And it grew a lot for a while and it was doing pretty well.
Yeah. So let's make it clear. You're an entrepreneur and your business is a company that sources affiliates, like finds products that you like, and then you make it through affiliate just by promoting their product, right?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So a lot of people out there, when you go online and you start looking up stuff on affiliate marketing or whatever, people will shout out, it's the greatest marketing or the greatest way to make money. And I tend to agree. But what a lot of them leave out is that you need to get not just traffic, but kind of what we were talking about, relevant traffic, right?
Yeah.
To these affiliate offers. I used to always tell people, you don't want to sell stethoscopes to lawyers, right? Because lawyers aren't interested in that.
That's for sure.
I don't care how many people I have who are, reading the blog or following me or whatever. If they're not interested in what I have to promote, then I'm going to make $0.
Right.
So what I do to fix that traffic problem is I create websites. I create blogs that talk about these niche topics. And then I partner with these businesses and these other companies. And I create articles that draw traffic from Google. And then as people find it, I answer their question. And then I recommend them to go purchase a product here or there to help them out of whatever jam they happen to be in. And by doing that, I get an affiliate sale from it. So it does become increasingly passive over time because as traffic is coming to your website, you only got to write that article once.
Right. You built up content.
Right. Exactly. Like, even though people might be looking at us live right now, or if you listen, there's going to be people in the future who's going to be listening to this on the replay.
Let's hope so. Because right now it's my wife, my friend Barry, and maybe my son. So,
but the cool part is you only have to do this work once and it's out there. So you're creating like little copies of yourself over and over and over again for many people to find.
Internet. Right.
Exactly. Due to the internet. Right. Yeah, and that's really the beauty of it right there.
Now, is that some of the things you learned at the, let's call it the Affiliate Academy? I don't know what it was. It was some sort of a course you joined, right? A community. Is that one of the things you learned was, listen, you can't just sign up and take a link and put it on a website. You have to create content that search engines find, that people search for, that read about what you're saying about that company or the product, right?
Yeah, essentially, because they showed me how to get traffic.
Yeah.
If you know how to get traffic, and when I say traffic, I mean people to your website, people to your podcast, YouTube video, whatever. When you get interested people, and you learn that skill of doing that, you're going to be able to find a way to make money the rest of your life, if you know how to attract an audience. Yeah. So they taught me how to blog effectively and use what's called SEO or search engine optimization.
Right. People hear the term all the time. They don't understand it. It's very difficult to understand. Yeah.
Well, the cool part about SEO, Mitch, is that it has a very high return on investment, usually, because
if you're doing it right.
If you're doing it right, correct. Because you can go and start running Facebook ads, you can start running YouTube ads, you can LinkedIn, you can do all of these ad networks, and you're just giving them money. But if you don't have a good way of getting that money back on the back end, then you're just giving Mr. Zuckerberg, your paycheck for no reason.
Yeah.
So, but the cool thing with SEO is it takes a little longer to ramp up. You can turn on Facebook ads today, and it'll start working. But with SEO, it takes a little bit of time to ramp up. But once it's ramped, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So the amount of money I might pay to get SEO up and running, or if you don't have a budget to begin with and you're creating the content yourself, then you're just kind of paying with time at that point. Then you're getting consistent traffic to a website. Google's one of the most consistent traffic sources on the planet and has been for 15 years,
Right.
So there are billion-dollar companies that are built upon what Google does. So I just kind of build my little small, spot in the internet right here for this niche blog, and then I'll sell it later, and then I'll go make another one, and then I'll sell it later. And once these websites reach a certain amount of money per month, you can sell them just like you would any other asset, just any other business, and
so
make a pretty good income.
You're talking about the blog itself, or
the blog itself? Yeah,
because of the traffic that you're getting.
Traffic and the income.
So the affiliate income is actually right through that particular blog. Like it's almost like a lead magnet. People read it, and then if you want, click on this, and then it follows them, and you get.
Yeah. So for example, I have a golf blog, right?
Okay.
And in the because I'm just a golf fanatic. So with golf, let's just say I write an article that's like how to fix a slice or something like that, right?
Okay.
So I will write an article and I'll SEO that article, whatever. And
now explain what SEO the article means. It's looking for the proper keywords that are being followed on the internet. Is that what SEO mostly is?
Yeah. So search engine optimization is just a way to convey to Google what your article is about so that they can present it to the right person who's looking for it. Right. So when I SEO, quote unquote, an article, all I'm really doing is taking my target keyword. So in this instance, how to fix your golf slice or something.
Okay.
That would be the keyword that I'm targeting, because essentially what I would want, or ideally is what I would want, is when someone goes to Google and type in, how do I fix my golf slice? My website pops up. They click on my website and they read my stuff.
How do you determine why that's a good keyword or not a good keyword?
Oh, say that last part again.
How do you determine why? Like you want to write something about golf, right? You have an affiliate golf, I don't know, company. They make clubs or whatever.
Yeah.
And you want to write this blog. So how do you determine that writing about a slice, for example, is better than writing about putting or something like that?
Well, essentially, I'd probably write about both at some point on the blog. But usually what you're trying to do is create what's called topical authority.
Okay.
Right? And because Google wants to, you can't just write one article on golf and just expect to rank.
Right.
That used to work like 10 years ago. It doesn't work today. So you need to establish topical authority. So I might write 10, 20, 30 articles just on golf, just so I can show Google that, hey, this is a golf website.
Right. Got it.
And when they do that, then I will make a determination if I should write this article or not. And I do that usually based on how much traffic that article would potentially get if I was able to rank on the first page for it. And then also the monetary element of it. If I ranked for this keyword, how could I monetize it? How could I make money from it? So just for example, I could partner with a golf brand that has clubs.
Okay.
And it might be a specific club that does this or turns left or whatever that helps you with your slice, right?
Yeah.
So if I can get people onto my website who are interested in fixing their slice, I can give them maybe 5 or 10, quick hitters saying, hey, this is how you can fix your slice. You can fix your grip. You can do this. You can do that. And then I do that all the way through the blog post. But then throughout that blog post, or maybe at the end of the blog post, I'm going to have a call to action. And the call to action is, by the way, I use this club and it really helped me with my slice. You might want to click on it and check it out yourself. They click on it. Now they are cookied, I guess you can say, or they are now, it's a tracking link that they clicked on.
Right, exactly.
Or an affiliate link, right? Yeah. They click on the affiliate link. They now go over to the brand. And if they buy my recommendation in like 30 days of clicking that link, then I get an affiliate commission from it.
Right.
And that's essentially how it is. So I'm drawing people onto my blog who are interested in a particular topic. Because they're interested in that topic, I can naturally know what else they would be interested in as well. Kind of like, Golf Magazine will have watches in it, for advertisements or other golf brands in it. I'm doing that same thing, but essentially on my website.
Now, is there a way that you can capture these people so you can reach out to them again? Like, because the blog essentially becomes like a mini funnel, right? The
Correct.
people are doing a search for how to fix my slice. They end up on your thing. They read your article, tells them all kinds of things. At the end, they click to look at the club. Do they also click on something to capture their email, or is there a way that you capture their email?
Yeah. So most blogs, you need to start capturing email with it. And
Yeah.
it's really helpful because you can then remarket to these people, as in market
Right.
to them over and over and
Do you
over
do like
again.
a lead magnet? You give them like an ebook or something if they put their
Yeah,
something
so
like that?
on my golf blog, what I do is a free giveaway, right?
Yeah.
So because I do the golf blog, sometimes I get sent product just to try it out so I can write a review on it.
Oh,
So
nice.
because I get to keep it, I'll just give it away after I do the review. So essentially like once a month, I'll send an email out to people and say, "Hey, I got this new thing, if you want it, either let me know or
Like
I'll
a
use it
raffle
as a
almost,
way."
right?
Kind of.
Depends on how many
Essentially,
you have,
I
how
pick a
many units you
random
have.
I pick
Right.
a random
Exactly.
subscriber,
Got it.
but I use that as my lead magnet when someone lands on the website. So when someone lands on the website, a pop-up comes up saying, "Hey, do you like free golf stuff? Then sign up
Put it.
for
Yeah. There you
what you
go.
call it." So now I have
Right.
this email list of people who are interested in golf,
Right.
which means I don't want to just sell to them all the time, by the way. You do need
Right.
to provide value as much as possible. So just once a week, I send an email with a whole bunch of maybe new blog articles that are on the site, maybe a couple of tips that I learned, maybe a story of what happened when I went golfing earlier that week. And then at the end of it, or towards I'll maybe have a sponsor on and say, "Hey, by the way, you can go click here and then go
Yeah.
get, a free thing here, a free thing there." And then just once a month, I just make sure I say, "Hey, I'm giving away this. I'm doing to a free subscriber or something. Check it out."
Yeah.
And that's how I do that with email. And that's a whole nother real subject, to dive into,
Right.
because you can make a decent amount of money with just the site as well. But it's much easier to promote and have instant traffic to places by
Right.
already having an email list that you can just really tap into whenever you want.
Yeah, I think one of the recommendations they tell to anybody, if you want to build your podcast, promote your podcast, you want to promote your business, build an email list. It's like the first thing.
It's
So all these
essential.
people are
Yeah.
coming, they're raising their hands. They're like, "Hey, Chris, I read your article and all this stuff." You want to capture them and tag them and know that they're interested in this particular area, topic, whatever industry.
Yeah, it goes a long way because
Yeah.
a lot of people might say that email is old or dead or whatever,
No.
but we check our email every single day. Now we get bombarded with email, so you do have to do something to kind of
Right.
have yourself
If you're
stand out
interested in
from the
golf, you
rest.
see it pop up and they've subscribed to, they've opted into your list. Yeah, that they're probably going to look at it. It might not be interested to them then, but they see your email on a regular basis. They remember that you're keeping in touch with them. It's so important. It's so overlooked. I talk to so many people. I'm like, well, let's say they're not even blogging. They have a brick and mortar business, and they
Yeah.
also have an online presence. And they're like, and I would say to them, well, you're building an email list. Yeah, I really need to do that. I meet a lot of people. I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean, you're passing up gold, and
you
it's
are.
not. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's so much easier and cheaper to retain a customer than to get another one,
Much
right?
cheaper.
So because of that, it would be very wise to start building an email list sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
Usually with a niche site, because it does take a couple of months for it to ramp. You could probably get away with not capturing email immediately,
right.
but once you started getting consistent traffic to the site, I would do something to start capturing email addresses, come up with some type of lead magnet that your audience would be interested in. And then you can create an email sequence. I know you guys say that you use
Yeah,
Aweber, right?
yeah,
You
drip
use an
campaign.
email sequence,
Right.
you can set it up for 52 weeks and
Yeah,
not touch it again.
right.
So it works out amazingly well. You can drive traffic back to your website. You can send people to affiliate offers, and all of a sudden, the site's getting traffic from Google, and you're automatically sending emails. That frees up your time to go do something else,
Right.
or go do
Yeah.
something more.
Aweber and the other services have this feature too. But on Aweber, if somebody gets added to my mailing list because you set up a meeting with me through my Calendly program or whatever, and it adds your email or you subscribe, they automatically get a 5 or 6 email drip campaign about my practice and the podcast and all that stuff. So you could set up various lists and various, the golf list and the bourbon list and the cigar list or whatever, and set up a series that every time somebody gets added, automatically they get these emails that are spread out and offer them information and then, go from there. And a lot of people, it does
Yeah,
take some work to do all that stuff, but so does the
it
blogging. You
does.
got to write this stuff
Well, and
or
that's
find
kind of
articles
what
or something.
a lot of people who jump into our industry, because people are shouting from the hills, passive income, right?
course.
And usually passive income is not usually very passive.
Right.
So you have to work on it. So the cool part about what blogging does is that, if you post something on Facebook, it might
Yeah.
last for a few hours. If you post it on Twitter, it probably lasts for a few minutes.
Right.
If you post it on YouTube, you're probably going to get, maybe a few months out of
Yeah.
it. If you post a blog, the average stick time for a blog is usually anywhere from 8 to 24 months,
There you go.
especially if you can rank for it and not a lot of people even know that it exists or whatever, then you can rank for years. I'm doing keyword research sometimes, and I'll find blog posts that are ranking for stuff that was posted in 2010.
Really?
And it's still ranking today, more than a decade later.
Yeah.
Like, there's not many things that you can do that literally 10 years later, it's still getting you traffic and still getting you income.
It's like evergreen.
Yeah, and that's what I like about blogging is that you can literally write articles once and not have to touch them again for a year or two, and it can consistently give you traffic. There is an 80-20 to it. Some articles are not going to do as great. Some articles are going to literally kick it out of the park. So it really just depends on that, but you got to throw enough at it to give the algorithm and Google enough opportunity to be able to give you the traffic that you should get.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take a commercial break. I'm going to say something about Aweber and about the alternative board, and they support me, so I got to support them. But maybe when we come back from the break, it's only going to be probably 30 seconds or a minute. We can talk about Blogger evolution and blogging, because this isn't just about affiliate marketing. Like, that's your business, and people can make money doing affiliate marketing. But I don't want people to overlook the value of blogging for any business, right? And becoming an authority in any area, and what it does to your internet presence and what it could do to your business. Like, I don't want people to overlook that you were successful in blogging and in affiliate marketing doesn't mean it doesn't translate, and it does, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So when we come back, we're not going anywhere. You and I will stay on the screen. I'm going to read these out, live read commercials, and then we'll get back into it. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, here we go. Are you looking to market and grow your business? Or perhaps you're just getting started and want to hit the ground running? Aweber is the best choice for online email marketing and automation for your business. From maintaining a subscriber list to drip campaigns and landing pages, Aweber gives you tools and integrations that make marketing easy and fun. And I mentioned before, as our partner and sponsor, we use their tools to promote the podcast, to market the law firm, drip campaigns. There's automatic things when people when there's a new blog that comes out, it'll automatically send out emails. There's all kinds of great stuff in there. Unlike some of the other services, they have live people to help you through things, to give you customer service. They are definitely, in my opinion, the best alternative for online marketing. We are an affiliate of them as well, and they do support the podcast. In addition, our newest sponsor, which just came on this month, is the Alternative Board. For over 30 years, the Alternative Board, they also call it TAB, has built a thriving community of forward-thinking CEOs and business owners who want to radically improve their companies. Through unique combinations of one-on-one business coaching, participation in monthly TAB board meetings with other non-competing owners, a suite of strategic tools, and customized strategic planning workshops, TAB membership can deliver greater strength to your business and a better work-life balance for you and your family. It's all packaged in a streamlined and affordable service, and they invite you to try it risk-free. And I am a big proponent of advisory boards, having a mentor, working with people, coach, whatever, even if it's one or two people to start to help you with your business, to give you ideas, and you can give them ideas, because you can't do it on your own. You got to sound things off. And the Alternative Board is a great program. And I welcome them and thank them for coming. So, Chris, let's get back to things. I want to talk about, the blogging process and, what's involved with, where do you start? Do you buy domains every time you think of a topic? Do you go to, I don't know, is blogger.com a thing still? Do you go to blogger.com and you're setting up all these blogs? And then how we can give advice to people who are entrepreneurs, maybe not in the affiliate marketing space necessarily, to get started, tips and tricks and traps to watch for and things like that.
Yeah. So there is a lot involved, unfortunately, with blogging.
Yeah.
And it's tough to do it on your own. It really is. But it is essentially, 4 or 5 things that you need to get done. First of all, you need to pick a niche. You need to pick or niche, depending on what part of the world you happen to be in. And that's, when I say a niche, I mean a topic, right?
Yeah.
So what is your website about? Once you've found out what topic or what niche you want to jump into, then you need to build a website.
Right.
And you can build a website by, just like you mentioned, you need to buy a domain and get hosting for it. I would not recommend using blogger.com, at least not nowadays.
Okay.
It's much better to be what's called self-hosted,
Okay.
meaning you go to a place, one of the places I like to
GoDaddy
use.
or whatever, and you buy the actual domain.
Correct. You buy the domain from GoDaddy. I like to set up hosting at a place called WPX Hosting, and
Okay.
they're excellent for what I do.
You can buy the domain through them, and they'll do the hosting.
You
and
could
build
do
it
both with
yourself?
them. I typically keep my domains at a place called NameCheap, and then I just route the domain to the hosting
Right.
at
It's
the
like
hosting
GoDaddy. It's
provider.
just a competitor, right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah. Okay.
So you do that same thing. So I'll set up the website, and then after that, you need to create content that attracts that audience.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's the keyword research. That's the going online, trying to figure out what topics are not being served the best. What types of topics can I create better content on so that I can have a better shot at ranking in Google? And once you've created that content, you draw that audience, then you can turn around and monetize. And
Got it.
you monetize by a few ways. Affiliate marketing is probably my favorite way of doing it, but you can also do what are called display ads. So I'm sure if
Okay.
you've been on a website, you've probably seen ads popping up,
Yeah,
or if you went to
banner ads or
Amazon
whatever.
earlier that
Yeah.
day, all of a sudden you go to another website and then that same thing you were looking at earlier is right there on the sidebar.
Yeah.
You know, those are display ads, and the website owner gets paid for that also. And that's another way that you can monetize a website. And then
So you're saying you have display ads from affiliates on your website because of this traffic that you have, or
they're not affiliates, actually. You can partner with companies like AdSense is probably the most popular one.
okay.
You can partner with Google, and they can display ads on your website, like at the
Okay.
top or popping up at the bottom or on the sidebar and all those things. But there's other companies that you can partner with that actually pay you a lot more than what AdSense will.
Okay.
So once you partner with those companies, you can monetize people who just land on your website and don't click a thing.
Right.
You know,
Right. 'Cause
they do
might
pretty
click through
well.
it. Yeah.
So then once you monetize that audience, usually through affiliate and display ads, then, you know, I'm setting up the business continually and then hopefully trying to optimize it so I can get more traffic and then more revenue. And then at some point, I mean, my idea is to either keep the website and just keep the recurring revenue that's coming in each and every month from it, or I turn around and sell it and I can exit that site. And by exiting the site, I can get like a pretty big lump sum, usually anywhere from 3 to 4 years worth of how much you would normally make month to month. And, you know,
Okay.
you do this whole process in
That's the
about a
metric. It's
year
like
and a
3 to
half.
4 times what your monthly average income was in the site.
Yeah, you know, yeah. And so, for example, right now the multiples, they're usually mentioned monthly. So you can get a multiple right now for a well-designed site anywhere from 35 to 50x. So
Right.
let's just take the average. Let's just say
Monthly, right.
40x. So
Right.
if your site earns $1,000 per month pretty consistently over the course of 3 to 6 months, you can sell that site
For
for
40
anywhere
grand.
between 35, 40, you know, $1,000. And you can build up a site that makes $1,000 a month, you know, within a little under a year, probably, if you do everything. If you do
What are you
everything
looking
right.
at? Probably 25 to 30 blog posts that a lot of which are drawing a lot of traffic.
Yeah. I would probably go around 50. You know,
50.
would probably be a better number. And
Yeah.
that's if I don't plan on growing the site past $1,000
Right.
or more. Usually I have a content plan of getting a site anywhere from 50 to 100, and then I kind of reassess where it is, how it's growing. Do I want to continue talking about that subject? Am I already sick of it? You know,
Right.
stuff like that. And then hopefully get the site up to usually that magic number that you want to get a site to is about $2,000 to $2,500, because now you have a good shot at getting a 6-figure exit on that
Oh,
business.
it's more of a multiple.
It's more of a multiple. So if I can get a site to 2,500 per month, 3,000 per month, then I'm getting at a 40x multiple on it. That's over $100,000 that I can sell that site for.
And people buy it or companies buy it just for the income.
Yeah, well, it's an asset that's generating revenue. So it's a business.
Yeah.
Just like a corner store, you know, is making money, whatever. You can buy it and then continue with it. So some people like myself will buy blogs that are already in existence, and then maybe I see something on that blog that the current owner is not doing that I know I can make more money with.
Right.
So based
Like
on how much that
dilapidated real estate, you go in and you're
exactly,
like, you know
that's
what, I
exactly
can
what
buy
it
this for
is.
50 and do something, and that was worth 100.
Right. It's risky,
Yeah,
because we're
of course.
entrepreneurs. That's the definition of risk right there.
Right.
But if you know what you're doing, and I've done this, so many times, I can look at a website, see that they're not doing this, take a look at their profit and loss. Oh, you're not doing this. I can turn around and do one, two, three. Now the site maybe is making double the amount of money, and I can sell it and essentially flip that site. Right.
Right.
So that's one thing that you can do. And then once you've done that, you can sell the site and then make a pretty good chunk of money on it.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to figure out those things, like where you could look at a site and be like, you know what? They're doing these three things wrong. I can definitely make something out of this. Let me buy it. Like, how'd you get to that level?
Yeah, I'll be honest. When I first started blogging, I had no idea that buying and selling blogs was even in a business, was
Right.
even a thing.
I didn't think it was.
Back when I first started, the multiple was around 25,
Okay.
20 to 25. And just over time, it's just gotten a lot bigger. Right now, the average multiple is probably 35 to 40. And if you do other things, like let's just say your site's trending up, as in the traffic is continuing to increase each and every month, you have an email list, maybe you diversified the traffic to not just be Google, but also Instagram or Pinterest or whatever,
Right.
then you might be able to get around 50x multiple for that site. Because a buyer or an investor is just trying to diversify their own risk, right?
Right. And they don't want to build it from scratch anymore.
They don't want to build it from scratch. I mean, think about it. These big companies, they are doing the same thing. We're just doing it on a smaller scale.
Right.
T-Mobile buys Sprint because, hey, we're bigger and we can absorb you and then grow. It's a growth method, right?
Of course.
Of being able to acquire another
And
business.
it's cheaper for the company to buy your blog that you already put 50 articles out and you did all the work. And
the beauty of it as well,
their portfolio, because maybe it leads to other things that they sell, right? They want to sell to these people.
Right. And then the beauty of it as well is that the concept is already proven as well, right? Because usually, usually with a website or with a business in general,
Yeah.
You can't really know if the business works until you have people who are actually taking out their credit cards and buying stuff.
Right.
Right. So a business that is in existence and is already making money shows that the
It's proven.
idea that
Right.
business exists
Right.
shows that it's good. So I should be able to get it, sprinkle a little bit of spice on it, and change the windows here, add a new bathroom there, yada yada yada, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden I can flip that site. And if I spent, I'll give you an example. I just recently acquired a site for like maybe $1,500.
Okay.
You make a couple of changes to it. It was only making like maybe $20-$30 a month. I made like 2 or 3 changes to it. It's already making over $100 per month, right?
Wow.
So I could sell the site right now and would have doubled my money.
Right.
That's a lot better than what I would get if the money was in index funds last year, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the index funds got trashed last year.
Right.
And you're only really promised a 7 to 10% on average return on your money.
Right.
And I doubled my money within a couple of months, right? And you can do that on much bigger scales as well.
Right.
But
But it's not for, like, don't tell people to just jump in and buy blogs. You got to know what you're doing, know what you're looking at. Takes experience,
I usually recommend people build a site from scratch first and understand that whole process and concept.
Yeah.
And then once you have exited that site, then you have some money that you can play with, right? And you can go and buy another business. I didn't learn all of this, overnight, obviously, right? Yeah. It was just a little one step here, one step there. There was a few things that I was like, oh, I would never do that. But then as I got more experience, I started seeing more and more value in learning that new skill and realized that, oh, maybe I should know how to do that.
Yeah.
But it does require a bit of focus because there's totally shiny object syndrome in any business, but knowing what to focus on and when to focus on it. Having a mentor is really helpful with that. I will say that. And
Yeah.
I was able to have a mentor and I just asked him questions. And there was stuff that I would just waste so much time with, like website design or logos or this, that, and the other. He's like, no, concentrate on this.
Right.
And it's like, all right. And then
That
I concentrated
doesn't
on that and I saw growth.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it takes time, but if you have money to invest, a website is not a bad idea, in my opinion, because I do that all the time.
Yeah. So I think it's really important. You mentioned about niching down. A lot of people have their business and they're afraid, if I niche down, I'm losing this customer and I'm losing this sale and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, it actually is the opposite effect. When you're very specific about something, you become an authority. Like maybe you have a retail store of some sort. You're not going to do a retail blog store and write about everything in your store because the traffic's all going to be
muddled.
It's going to be all mixed up, right?
Yeah.
So you got to pick like one particular thing that you sell or one particular type of item that you sell and become like an expert. So people who are looking for, some particular kind of scarf made from some kind of material, they do a search for it, they're going to come up with your blog because there's so much material. And then you have them in your world and you can market to them and stuff like that. And I think people miss that opportunity. I mean, to you, it's intuitive, right? If I'm going to do a blog, I don't want to write a blog on, coffee mugs. I want to write a blog on, this is from our store. If anybody wants to.
Merch store.
Yeah, merch store. If you want to write a blog, you may want to do it on something very, very specific in that thing. And first of all, I think it's easier to create content that way. Plus,
It is.
you build up a following that specifically, they're specifically interested in that. So I think people got to get that from whatever it is they do. If you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant, if you're whatever, pick exactly the area where you practice or you want to practice or you're really good at and be very specific about what you're writing about.
Yeah, I mean, I like to use the example of like your doctor or your general practitioner, right?
Yeah.
You go to him, and I mean, he gets paid a decent amount of money. Don't get me wrong, but if there's something specific that you need work on, then he refers you to somebody else,
Right.
and that's where they start charging you the arm and the leg, right?
Right.
Because they are specialists.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to do. You want to niche down and really focus on one particular aspect of your niche. There's an old marketing quote out there from, I think it's Meredith Hill, where she says, if you try to talk to everybody, you end up talking to nobody.
Right.
Yeah. So you need to niche down, talk to one specific group of people. I remember the day that I realized that not everybody is my ideal customer is the day that my business started growing.
That's what they call it, the ideal customer, they've called the everyone customer. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to be very specific into who your ideal audience is, and I think you mentioned it in passing, but it really does make creating content a lot easier because you know who you're creating content for.
Right.
If you're watching, the cooking channel, or whatever, the people know what type of person watches the cooking channel. So you're going to see commercials on knives and home products and this, that, and the other because they know who they are. But if you're watching like entertainment TV, that's trying to be broad to everybody. So the commercials are a little more random, because they don't know really who's watching.
News feeds, news programs. Yeah,
exactly. I argue that, going the more niche route is going to be the best thing. I'll tell you a little ninja trick when it comes to blogging and even with any brands, I know people like ninja tricks.
Yeah.
When it comes to naming your brand, be very broad with your name, something that is brandable, but also can hint toward whatever your topic happens to be. But then when you start creating your content, be very, very niche in that content that you create, especially when you're trying to get a foothold early on. And then once you've dominated that one section of it, because you created somewhat of a broad name, you can now branch out to another section of the niche and then another section of the niche and another one. So you can go like myfitness.journey.com or something, right? Instead of calling it mycardiojourney.com or my yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Now I can talk about anything fitness related, because
but you just do separate blogs about each specific thing, right?
Well, in that instance, I would keep all of the fitness stuff under one roof.
Oh, okay.
Now, I wouldn't necessarily start writing about golf on fitness, maybe one little article that may talk about it, but for the most part, fitness is fitness and golf is golf, right? So they're two separate things and they would have separate blogs. But something on fitness, I would focus early on just cardio. And then once I've dominated the cardio segment or I've written all the articles I think I can on that particular topic, then I'll move over and start talking about another aspect of fitness. It really just, depends on that. So start very general with your name, but then start very targeted with your content.
And what's the best way you think to write content? Do you repurpose articles? Obviously, give them credit. It's not plagiarism, but or do you write your own stuff? Or and that's why you kind of have to like what you're doing, right? Because you got to know a little bit about it. So when
create a lot of content
you're writing about golf, what do? Do you write it all yourself? Do you pull articles other places? How do you come up? I saw 50 articles, a lot.
Yeah, I normally will write maybe the first handful of articles, and then any articles that have to do with promotion. So like maybe it's a review of a product or something like that, or a top 10 best golf drivers or something like that. I might write those, but general information content, I have a team of writers that write for me, and I just send them the content and then they spit back out to me, the finished articles, and then either I or my editor will look at those articles and make sure that they're fact checked and make sure that they read natural, that they have a little bit of a story in them, to keep people reading. And then maybe I'll even step in and maybe infuse a quick little story within the article itself. Usually you can get an article written for about $40-$50,
Right.
especially on an informational post.
Yeah, so you can get people copywriters and
Yeah,
online.
and I have systems that will, create that content for me. And then once I have the content and it's been edited, I post it onto the site. And then if they have affiliate links or anything like that, that gets added into the article. If I have display ads on it, I make sure that page is set up for the correct display ads. That way, when people find the article, as the second that article makes more than $40-$50, over the course of a few months from the traffic or the affiliate revenue,
Right.
it's just profit at that point,
Yeah.
and you do that over and over and over again. Again, some articles are going to do amazing, some not so amazing. So there is a, Pareto principle there that you got to think about.
Right.
But once you've done it and set it up, more times than not, it's going to work out for you if you don't give up.
Very good. So I think people, what they can take from this is, first of all, you don't have to do it yourself, right? You can hire people to write the articles for you and do it. But content is king, right? If you're going to get out there, and by the way, I was going to ask you, so if you're writing 40 or 50 articles, you're not going to write the articles and post them in 3 days, right? So what do? You post an article a week, you post an article a month. How do you build up that credibility?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I get it quite often, but with blogging, if I have 50 articles done, I'll post them all right then and there.
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
It's just content that people are going to search anyway.
Yeah, it's different because you are building a brand, but it's not the same kind of brand that if you had a podcast or a YouTube channel or something like that. With that information, or the podcast or YouTube channel, then it would be better if you had a set schedule of when content is released.
Right.
That way you get people in the habit of looking for you. With a blog, it's kind of different. Nowadays, people aren't, they don't have favorite blogs, usually nowadays. Right. People have favorite YouTubers, or they have favorite podcast hosts or something like that. So with a blog, once the content's ready, I spit it out right then and there.
The whole thing.
The whole smash. If it's there. If I don't have it, then I'll probably plan it out. So usually with a brand new site, I'll blitz it. I'll get 30 articles out there as fast as possible. And then I'll slow down the production on it and maybe release a new article a week, or maybe 3 or 4 a month, or something like that. You have to
create the content, but you're saying as fast as you can create the content, you're going to put it out there.
Yeah, because a big thing with SEO is age, right? So I don't know if you remember the old school days of Google, where you would Google a phrase or something, and you would get like these terrible e-zine articles would pop up, and it wasn't helpful, and it ticked people off because I'm trying to get something and I can't get it from search engines. That's why places like Ask Jeeves and Lycos and all these other search engines died.
Yeah.
And Google started taking over the world. And a big reason for that was because Google found a way to suppress bad content and have the cream rise to the top.
Right.
That's a slow process, but it does work, right?
Yeah.
So because of that, if you create good content, usually older content is trusted more than content that was just spit out last week, right? So because with that in mind,
season on the web.
Yeah, exactly. Because Google wants to see a pattern of you creating good content and giving good user signals from the people who are landing on your website before they trust you to give you more and more and more traffic. So because of that and that age factor, it's much better to get the articles out there and then start having that time start ticking right then and there, because it's going to serve you better in the long run than waiting, a year and only posting 2 articles a month. But there is a caveat to that. Okay. If you can only post 2 articles a month, that's better than 0. That's better than not posting.
I mean, you got to create the content. I'm not saying you shut down your business and write 30 articles and not be open for 2 weeks.
Yeah. When I first got started in this business, when I started seeing the returns, I was writing all the articles myself, and I was churning out sometimes 2 and 3 articles a day, just trying to get stuff out.
Right.
When I finally had enough money to be able to reinvest into the business, one of the first things I did was hired writers for me. So now I can hire a writer and give them $40-$50. What's that?
They're virtual. They're not.
Oh yeah, exactly. They're virtual people. So there's different services out there that I use to get. I don't know if you want me to mention any of them, but
it doesn't matter. Sure, you can.
Okay. So one place that I use is called ProBlogger.com. Okay. You can actually make a post, and there's a lot of writers there, and you can say, hey, I need a writer who is knowledgeable about home repair, who's out there. I'll get a whole bunch of resumes back. I'll send test articles out there. If I like the test articles, I'll bring them on board. Another one that I use is called Writer Access. That one is like a big pool of writers, and then I just put an article out there, and then it gets picked up by those pool of writers. And if I like the writer, I put them on what's called my love list. If I don't like the writer, I block them so that the next time I put out an article that I need written, only my love list people are going to see it. So the people I've already worked with are going to be able to pull those articles.
Got it. So it's like Fiverr or Upwork, but specifically for writers.
But specifically for writers. It's a great service. I've been using it for years, and it's a good way to get content out there. But because I have so many people on my love list, I can punch out 50 I rarely do 100 articles, but I can punch out 50 articles within a couple of weeks, and then have it posted onto the site.
Because with them helping you,
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
As your business grows, as with anything, you start to realize how much your time is actually worth.
Right.
And it's actually much better to, as soon as you have money, to reinvest into your business, to pay someone else to write the article so that you can concentrate on more higher level things. And that's the whole kind of working on your business rather than in your business. And that goes to everything, not just blogging.
Course. Yeah.
So being able to get help, you can start, doubling your production, tripling your production. And the more that you can produce, the more traffic you're going to get, the more traffic it's going to usually tend to more sales and revenue.
Yeah. Well, now with these websites, the AI websites like ChatGPT, you could probably go on their website and type in, write me an article about how to improve my golf swing. And it would write you a whole article.
It can. And that is something that a lot of bloggers out there are kind of afraid of right now.
I'm sure.
Because they're like, oh, is this, tool is just going to take our jobs or whatever, right? But you have to remember, the AI tools are getting the information from our blogs. So it's kind of a chicken or the egg thing.
So if you don't put out any content, they won't be able to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that AI tools have yet to do, I don't know if they'll be able to do it in the future, but when a new golf driver comes out, the AI tool can't take it out there and try it out. I can.
They're just going to pull information from what other people write about it.
Exactly. So there is certain types of content that I might shy away from creating because I know an AI can literally just spit out the answer in 2 seconds. But there's other content that an AI will never be able to create outside of just pulling it from people who have already done it, at which point I'm still needed at that point, right?
But the more content there's out there, the more information. I actually went on one of those sites and asked it to write a legal document, which gets pretty complicated. I've been practicing 30 years. It was frightening.
Yeah.
How good this thing was writing the document. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be out of business.
I heard some people saying that they were actually afraid for legal people with how great the new, I don't know if you heard that GPT-4 just released like 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And apparently it passed in like the 90th percentile.
Yeah, it passed the bar.
It passed the bar exam and LSAT.
Yeah. And the first version was like 10%, and now it's like 90%.
And that's just where AI is right now. Imagine what it'll be when they have GPT-5 and GPT-6 coming out.
The one advantage I have as a lawyer, right? I've been doing this 30 years. I've written thousands of contracts, worked with hundreds and hundreds of businesses. If this bot writes the document for you, you still don't know why these paragraphs are there, whether they should be or shouldn't. You don't have any professional to say, hey, this won't work here, or this is missing this. You're just relying on the fact that it's accurate.
Well, and that's the inherent problem too, Mitch, right? Because let's just say someone does create their legal documents just because ChatGPT can do it.
Exactly.
And then they get sued, and then they go sued, and they go in front of a arbitrator, a lawyer or something. And they said, well, ChatGPT told me to do it. That's not going to hold. That's not going to fly, I don't think.
No, absolutely.
Very well. So even the fact that you have a real living and breathing lawyer, you can at least have someone to complain to if things don't work out because they were supposed to protect you. You can't go to an AI and be like, well, the AI was supposed to do this for me.
Right.
Maybe we'll get to a time where people will be like, well, if ChatGPT said it must be right. It's going to take a while for that trust, really. Google's been around for 15 years and people trust it. Google has become a verb. You Google something, right? It's going to take ChatGPT or any of these things a while before it builds that same trust with people to where you can really hang your hat on what it has to say. Because as of right now, it still gets a lot of stuff wrong.
Right. Yeah, I know 20 years from now, they'll be like looking at us saying, you used to write your own articles? What are you kidding me? You just talk to the computer and it writes it for you.
Yeah,
So,
and at the end of the day, too, especially in the blogging space, you
right.
still need people to run these websites, right?
Yeah,
You still need people who know what keywords to go after to make sure that you're getting traffic, and then convert those people into sales.
of course.
People don't buy usually. People don't buy just to buy; they buy because of people, right? If I trust this person and I know, like for example, you're a lawyer, I know that I can go to you to get certain things taken care of because I know you and I trust you.
Yeah,
There's a big difference there than just spitting it into an AI tool and just waiting for it to pop out because, again, I don't know where it got this information from. It didn't even
right.
tell me. And even if it did tell me, how do I know that its interpretation is
It's
going to
correct.
save me from being sued in the future?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, I mean, I think just the content game will change.
It
That's
will.
what'll happen. It'll be different. You can't just keep blogging for the next 20 years the same way you're doing it now. There's going to be different algorithms, more competition, more data. I don't know. It's just going to be different. That doesn't mean you can't adjust and keep, making money. So, well, what have been some of your bigger affiliate moneymakers and like what kind of products or what kind of industries?
Yeah. Digital products probably are going to always win out for me. So, for example, I mean, I just recently started a musical instruments site, right?
Okay.
So, in this musical instruments site, people can, let's just say I write a review on a saxophone or a trumpet or something, right?
Okay.
So I write a review on it. People find it on Google. They click through and go buy the trumpet. I might get, 4, 5, 6% from Amazon if they
So
do
this
it.
is an affiliate link to buy musical instruments.
Correct.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
So I might get 5 or 6%. Let's just say that trumpet costs $200 and I get 5% on it. That's
Okay.
not a ton of money,
No,
but it's something. And if you get it consistently, it's not bad.
$10.
But I would make more money if I found learn how to play trumpet online course that maybe is $300. I might get 30 or
They'll
40%
pay you more,
for
right?
that sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would do better to do digital products than I do actual physical products. So normally when I'm creating a new site, I'm not just looking for what I can promote. In terms of, physical things, golf driver, trumpet, saxophone, whatever. I'm actually looking, okay, what kind of digital courses can I also promote? Because people who land on these websites, they're going to be at least remotely interested in it, right? So I
Right.
might have a good opportunity to promote it and see if I can get a sale from it. So getting digital products as well as recurring revenue is really
Big time.
huge
Right.
as well. So I might be able to sell a product for maybe less money, but if it's a service that people need to pay
Like a
month after
subscription,
month
right?
for,
Yeah.
and then I get a commission for as long as they remain a member, then that recurring income really insulates your business as well, and
Yeah.
it does an excellent job at growing and growing and growing over time. As long as you're bringing in more people than are dropping each month, then you're going to always come out in the positive. So digital products and recurring revenue is going to be where you're going to make the most money with affiliate marketing.
Okay. And also, where can they find out about, like, where do you find out about affiliate programs? Is there certain websites you can go to? Do you have to just do searches? Do you go to blogrevolution.com? I don't know what.
Well, you should definitely go to
Of course,
blogrevolution.com.
learn about
But
blogging, right?
yeah, exactly. But no, so affiliate programs are everywhere. Usually I tell people to start with products that they use themselves. And because if
And
you're
just see
using
if they
it,
have
they
affiliate
obviously was
programs.
effective.
Just go to their website, see if they have affiliate programs.
Yeah, most of the time you can go to these websites, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you're probably going to see something that says affiliates or partner program or partnerships or whatever. And you can partner with these companies.
Right.
There are some, I guess you could say, aggregate places
Directories.
that you can
Yeah.
go to,
Right.
directories. So one would be
Okay.
shareasale.com. Another one is CJ or
Okay.
commissionjunction.com. Another one that I don't really use because a lot of the products there aren't the greatest is clickbank.com.
Clickbait.
Clickbank. So
Clickbank.
BANK.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a lot of digital products, but you need to vet them before you start promoting them because a lot of them are kind of crappy. So,
Got it. Okay. Good.
but usually ShareAsale
Everything.
ShareAsale and Commission Junction are going to be probably your 1 and 2s out there that are the biggest ones. And all those companies really do is they will contract out the affiliate marketing part or affiliate programs that the businesses don't want to do. So, a place that creates
Management of it. The management of the
yeah,
affiliate
a place
program.
that creates golf apparel. I know
Yeah.
we're sticking on golf, but a place that creates golf apparel, that's what they do. They make golf apparel. They're not marketers, right? They're not affiliates or whatever. So they might hire out ShareASale or Commission Junction to handle their affiliate programs for them.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what you do. You go to these places, you can search for your niche. All of a sudden, you get a long list of companies that are associated with these places. And it's just within a couple of clicks, you can become an affiliate, get your link, and then put it onto your site where your traffic's coming in.
Most affiliate programs don't cost anything, right?
You shouldn't have to pay for an affiliate program.
Right.
If they're asking you to pay money to be part of their affiliate program, I would run. Yeah, right. I would run the other direction.
They're asking you to make them money. They want you to pay to make them money.
Exactly. Yes. Right. It doesn't make sense. But a lot of new affiliates, they do fall into those traps, right? And they're like, oh, I can make this much money with this and I can make that much money with that. Oh, let's go ahead and try it. Oh, I only got to pay $20 a month. All right, let's do it.
Right. Exactly. Next thing you know. All right, Chris, I appreciate your time teaching us. I know your website's bloggerrevolution.com. Why don't you tell us about the podcast?
Yeah, so the podcast is the same name as well, Blogger Revolution. Call it the Niche Website Show. Okay. So the Blogger Revolution, check that out. We talk about blogging, affiliate marketing, display ads, all of that fun stuff. The podcast is growing pretty well, so we're getting a little bit of an audience. We're closing in on 100 episodes, which is awesome. Yeah, it's always a good number. I invite everyone to come on over.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll put all those links in the show notes. We'll talk about it after, make sure they're all in there. So we mentioned a lot of links today. And if you're out there, you have a business, I don't care if it's brick and mortar, or if it's an e-commerce business, whatever, you got to be putting out content. You got to be building an email list. You got to be doing all these things. And Chris is the expert. So follow him. Are you on LinkedIn? And to follow you? LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram?
I'm totally Instagram, probably. Chris Myles Official, Okay. So, but if you go to bloggerrevolution.com, you'll see everything.
All the links are there.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, Chris, I can't thank you enough for coming, my first live guest. We'll roll the closing credits, and we'll also get this thing up on the director's file in a couple of days for people to listen to.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Mitch. This was really fun.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Accidental Entrepreneur. Opening and closing music written and performed by Howie Moskovich and made to order music. For information about Howie and his music services, please follow the link in our show notes. If you like the podcast, please tell others about us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most of the other podcast directories. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review and feel free to share our episodes on social media. If you have any questions or comments, ideas for the show, or you'd even like to appear as a guest, reach out to us by email at info@beinackerlaw.com.
The Accidental Entrepreneur is hosted by Mitch Beinacker and produced by Beinacker Law. If you'd like to learn more about our business and legal services, you can find us on social media or visit our website at beinackerlaw.com. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe to our feed to be notified of all future episodes.